Before the dawn of humanity, there was a secret that was buried deep within the very roots of the Garden of Eden. A secret so profound, so ancient, that it was hidden for millennia, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. What if I told you that the Garden of Eden, that paradise of lush trees and flowing rivers, was not just created for mankind? What if Eden was a place where heavenly beings once walked and lived, long before Adam ever breathed his first breath? Why was such a magnificent garden prepared not for a mere mortal, but for a realm of higher powers, divine watchers who observed and guarded the secrets of creation itself? The truth is far darker, more mysterious than anything we've been told. Who were these ancient guardians? What were their roles, and why did the moment Adam stepped into Eden everything changed? In this video, we will uncover the full truth about Eden's hidden past. We'll reveal the beings who walked its paths before Adam's time, the celestial forces that shaped its creation, and the ancient battle that rages beneath the surface of what we thought we knew. Are you ready to discover the truth that has been locked away for so long? As we dive deeper, you'll understand the profound significance of those who were there before man, and how their presence changed the course of human history. You'll learn why Eden wasn't just a garden for Adam, it was a spiritual battleground, a meeting place for divine beings, and a realm that held more power than we could ever fathom. Don't miss out on this shocking revelation. Subscribe, like, and comment your thoughts below. What do you think was hidden in Eden before the fall of man? Let's journey together through this mystery and uncover what was lost. Eden and the beings before Adam. The Garden of Eden, the place of beauty, peace, and perfection. A garden so divine that it was prepared with purpose, not for mere humans, but for something far greater, something celestial. Picture a place untouched by time, where every tree and river whispered secrets older than creation itself. Before Adam's first breath, who walked through these gardens? Who marveled at the shimmering waters and the eternal greenery? Eden was not a barren land waiting to be filled. It was a space, a realm, where beings of light had already left their mark. Imagine the space filled not with silence, but with the hum of divine activity. Creatures and powers we cannot fully comprehend had once roamed this sacred ground, fulfilling their divine roles. The guardians of Eden, as described in Ezekiel, were not merely angels. They were mighty beings created with a purpose, to guard and preserve the sanctity of Eden. They were its protectors, its custodians, perhaps even its rulers, before humanity ever arrived. How could the Garden of Eden have been prepared for Adam without these divine beings? These beings, these watchers, lived in a spiritual dimension that intertwined with the physical. Eden was their domain, a meeting point between the heavens and the earth. But what happened when Adam stepped into this hallowed ground? As Adam took his first breath, the balance shifted. The first question we must ask is, what was disrupted in Eden when humanity arrived? The presence of these beings, this order, had been the foundation of Eden. Adam was the new creation, placed in a realm that had already been filled. He wasn't the first to occupy this sacred space. He was the replacement. The question we must all ponder is this: was Eden ever truly meant for man, or was it a place already inhabited by higher beings with divine purposes that man could never fully grasp? The guardian cherub and the fall of Eden's first order. Ezekiel's words echo in our minds. A being, adorned with precious stones, walked among the stones of fire and was called the guardian cherub. This cherub, this divine being, is described as walking in the very presence of God, a majestic figure with power beyond comprehension. But when we examine these words, a troubling question arises. Who was this guardian cherub, and what role did it play in the story of Eden? Was this figure Lucifer, or was it a being who existed before the creation of humanity? An ancient being whose power was so vast that it might have been considered a ruler of Eden. Was this being tasked with guarding the garden, not just as a place, but as a sanctuary of divine purpose? Lucifer, as many theologians suggest, could have once been the most powerful of these beings, entrusted with dominion over Eden. But then the fall came. Ezekiel tells us that this guardian was once blameless until wickedness was found in him. His fall was not just the rebellion of a being, it was the crumbling of an entire order. The Garden of Eden, a place once filled with heavenly beings, became a place of loss. The question we must ask is, why was this being, whether Lucifer or another celestial force, cast out of Eden? Could it be that the garden was not merely a place for man, but a divine throne room, a place of command and strategy? Was the garden once the meeting place of divine powers, where beings who were once supreme in their own right now found themselves displaced? These divine beings, who had once walked in the garden with untainted hearts, now find themselves fallen, their power diminished, their purpose lost. Their rebellion was not against humanity. It was a challenge to the very foundation of God's creation. The fall of man, the temptation by the serpent. Could it all have been part of a deeper spiritual conflict that began before the first breath of Adam? The Watchers and the divine purpose of Eden. Now we must consider the Watchers. These powerful beings, according to the Book of Enoch, descended to earth long before the flood, assigned to guard and guide creation. Their role was not to interfere with the natural order, but to observe, protect, and nurture the divine plan. But what if the Watchers were not merely passive observers? What if they were actively involved in the shaping of the Garden of Eden, watching as it bloomed into a paradise made for something or someone else? Could it be that the Watchers were the first beings to experience Eden in its purest form, to walk beneath its trees, and to gaze upon its beauty before man ever set foot there? What if the Watchers were the original stewards of the garden, and their purpose was to prepare it for a new creation, one that would ultimately fall short of its divine potential? These Watchers were not merely tasked with guarding the garden. They were to guide it, to shape it, to ensure its divine purpose was fulfilled. But when Adam arrived, was he seen as a new creation or as an interruption? The divine balance shifted, and what was once a perfect order now became something else entirely. The presence of these ancient beings in Eden before Adam arrived speaks to a deeper truth about humanity's place in the divine order. We are not isolated, unique creations who stumbled into Eden by chance. We are the inheritors of a divine purpose that was set in motion long before our arrival. And yet, in our fragility, we have been given dominion over the garden, over this sacred space where divine beings once held sway. Could it be that the fall, the temptation in Eden, was not just about disobedience? Could it have been a rebellion, an attempt to reclaim what was once lost? As we reflect on this, we must recognize that the story of Eden is not simply the beginning of humanity. It is the continuation of a divine narrative that stretches back to the very first moments of creation. And just as the Watchers were once tasked with guarding the garden, we too must guard the sacred space within ourselves, recognizing that the divine purpose set before us is not a burden, but a gift. These ancient beings, whether they are angels, watchers, or divine guardians, serve as a reminder of the cosmic forces that shape our lives, guiding us to understand the deeper mysteries of Eden and the creation that surrounds us. The fall may have been inevitable, but it was also a profound lesson in humility, reminding us that we are not the first nor the last to walk in this sacred space. The garden, once a place of beauty and order, now serves as a mirror for the divine struggle that continues to unfold within each of us. The question is not whether we will fall, but how we will rise. What will we learn from the garden that was lost, and what will we do to reclaim it? Adam and the shifting balance of Eden. As Adam breathed his first breath and stepped into the lush, vibrant landscape of Eden, something profound occurred. Not just within the garden, but in the very fabric of creation. For Eden was not merely a garden. It was a sacred realm, prepared long before Adam's arrival. This sacred space was filled with celestial beings who once moved freely beneath its trees and watched its waters flow with purpose. Adam's arrival, though divine, was also disruptive. The balance that had been established in Eden, the delicate dance between the celestial beings, the divine order, shifted. He was not the first creation to step foot in this realm, but the newest. A new creation to fill the place of those who had once ruled it. The question arises, was Adam welcomed into Eden with open arms, or did he walk in the shadow of those who had once been its caretakers? What if Adam wasn't seen as a ruler, but a visitor, someone who had come to take a place that had already been filled? Eden, once a place of harmony among divine beings, now became a place where humanity would leave its mark. But was that mark one of acceptance? Or was there a deeper, unspoken resentment that echoed throughout the garden? Adam's very presence in Eden could have been perceived as an intrusion. The celestial beings who had once called it home, beings whose dominion over the garden was unchallenged, now had to contend with the arrival of a new species. This is not simply about a garden, it's a clash of realms. The introduction of humanity wasn't a simple act of creation, it was the start of a cosmic tension. The question of Eden's purpose, whether it was designed for man or whether man was an afterthought in a much older divine plan, can never be fully answered. But one thing is clear, Adam's creation in the garden was a turning point, the beginning of a battle that continues to this day. The serpent's ancient role and the garden's first rebellion. In the lush expanse of Eden, amid its towering trees and glistening waters, one figure emerged from the shadows. The serpent. This creature, with its cunning and its ancient wisdom, was not just an animal. It was a being with knowledge and purpose, far older than Adam. Its presence in Eden was no accident. The serpent didn't just slither into the garden. It had a place there long before Adam walked upon its soil. Its knowledge of Eden, of its divine truths, made it more than just a creature. It made it a participant in the cosmic struggle that had been unfolding in Eden for eons. The serpent's role was one of disruption. It was not simply an agent of temptation, it was a representative of an ancient rebellion. When the serpent spoke to Eve, it wasn't just offering a fruit. It was opening a door that had been shut for ages. A door to the rebellion that began long before Adam's fall. The serpent, in its wisdom, knew the sacred balance of Eden and sought to challenge it. But why? Was it simply to corrupt humanity? Or was there a deeper, more ancient bitterness that motivated its actions? This ancient being, the serpent, knew Eden's secrets. It understood the divine nature of the garden, and it sought to upend that order. The serpent was not a passive observer. It was a part of a much larger narrative. It had lived in Eden long before Adam, and when Adam stepped into the garden, the serpent saw not just a man, but a usurper. The rebellion in Eden was not just about a bite of fruit. It was about the struggle for dominion over creation itself. Eden was never meant to be a simple paradise for man. It was a stage for a cosmic battle between divine beings, a place where the forces of light and darkness clashed for supremacy. The serpent was no mere trickster. It was a force that had been watching, waiting for the right moment to strike, to challenge the new order that Adam had brought with him. And when that moment came, it did not hesitate. The serpent's words to Eve were the opening salvo in a battle that has lasted since the beginning of time. A battle for dominion, for knowledge, for power, the fall of Eden and the consequences of the disruption. The fall of man in Eden was not merely the loss of paradise. It was the beginning of a profound shift in the divine order. Adam and Eve were cast out, but it wasn't just their disobedience that caused their exile. It was the reverberations of a much larger, older struggle that had been set into motion long before they ate the fruit. The Garden of Eden was sealed, not just to keep Adam and Eve out, but to prevent something older, something more dangerous from returning. The cherubim with their flaming swords didn't just protect the garden from humanity. They were the keepers of a much deeper secret, one that had been hidden from mankind. Eden, once a place of divine peace, became a battleground for higher powers. The fall wasn't just the result of a mistake. It was the opening of a door to a much deeper conflict. It was a conflict that began before humanity, before Adam and Eve, and it still echoes in the world today. The serpent's temptation was the catalyst, but it was the ancient beings who had been there before that truly set the stage for humanity's struggle. The fall of man in Eden wasn't just about Adam and Eve. It was about the cosmic order being disrupted, the divine plan being challenged, and the consequences of that rebellion reaching far beyond the garden. And so Eden was lost, but not forgotten. It was sealed away, hidden from mankind, and the story of its fall became a lesson, a warning for all of us. The question remains, what was hidden in Eden? What ancient knowledge, what divine power still lies locked away, waiting to be discovered? The garden may be closed, but its secrets, its power, and its legacy live on, hidden just beneath the surface of our world, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. Eden's story is not just the story of man's fall. It is the story of a divine struggle that continues to unfold. It is the story of the eternal conflict between the forces of light and darkness, and the price of disrupting the divine order. The garden may be gone, but its mystery, its lessons, and its warnings remain with us, waiting for us to uncover the truth that lies beneath the surface. Eden sealed, the hidden power within. When Adam and Eve were cast out of Eden, it wasn't just a simple expulsion. It was the sealing of a realm, a divine vault locked away from mankind forever. Imagine standing at the gates of paradise, looking through the bars of divine protection, knowing that the beauty, peace, and power that once existed within are now forbidden to you. Eden, once a living, breathing testament to God's creativity and glory, was now concealed from human eyes, shrouded in mystery, its treasures locked behind an impenetrable veil. But why was Eden sealed? Why did God place cherubim with flaming swords at the entrance? Was it to prevent humanity from returning to a paradise lost? Or was there something deeper, something more profound that we were not meant to touch? Not yet. The Bible offers little insight into this mystery, but the silence surrounding Eden's closure speaks volumes. It was as if the garden itself held secrets too powerful, too dangerous for humanity to comprehend. Consider this. What if Eden was not just a place of beauty, but a portal, a space where heaven and earth met, where divine beings walked, and where cosmic battles were fought long before man even existed? What if the reason for its sealing was not to punish, but to protect humanity from forces and knowledge too overwhelming for our fragile hearts and minds? Could it be that Eden was the scene of a cosmic war between divine and fallen beings? A war that began long before Adam and Eve took their first steps. Eden was not merely a garden. It was the cradle of creation, the battleground where celestial beings fought for dominion over the earth. And when Adam and Eve were expelled, it wasn't just about sin. It was about a greater cosmic struggle that transcends human understanding. The gates of Eden were sealed to protect the world from a power that had been unleashed, the consequences of a rebellion that was not just earthly but spiritual. The cherubim, with their fiery swords, weren't just guards. They were protectors, keeping the garden sealed not only from mankind, but from the returning forces that sought to reclaim what had been lost. And what of the secret hidden within Eden? Could there be a divine knowledge, an ancient power that was too dangerous for humanity to possess? Perhaps Eden was not just the birthplace of man, but the birthplace of creation itself, a place where divine secrets were sown, waiting for the right moment in time to be revealed. The tree of life, the tree of knowledge, and the river that flowed with living water, could they have been more than symbols? Could they have held the keys to eternal life, to the restoration of the fallen world, and to the ultimate understanding of the divine plan? Why else would they be guarded so fiercely? Eden's closure may have been an act of divine mercy, a safeguard to prevent humanity from prematurely accessing powers they were not yet ready to handle. In many ways, the garden's sealing was a reminder of mankind's need for spiritual maturity. To open the gates would have meant exposing humanity to the fullness of divine glory and knowledge, and that could have resulted in our destruction. So, Eden sleeps, waiting for a time when we, as a species, are ready to truly understand the mysteries it holds. There is something deeply spiritual about the idea that Eden still exists, just beyond the veil of human understanding. What if the garden is not lost, but merely hidden, waiting to be rediscovered? The Bible speaks of a new heaven and a new earth, a place where all things will be made new. Could it be that this restoration is tied to the reopening of Eden? Could it be that the secrets of Eden will one day be revealed, not in our time, but in the fullness of God's perfect plan for creation? As we stand on the edge of this divine mystery, we are left with more questions than answers. But the unanswered questions hold a power of their own. They draw us closer to the divine, urging us to seek, to wonder, and to yearn for the hidden truths that lie beneath the surface of what we know. Eden's closure was not an end. It was a beginning. It was the start of a journey that humanity must take, a journey toward spiritual maturity, toward understanding the deeper mysteries of God's creation. And so, we wait. We wait for the day when the gates of Eden will be opened once more. We wait for the time when we, as a species, will be ready to bear the weight of the knowledge that Eden holds. And when that day comes, it will not just be a return to paradise, it will be a revelation of the divine truth that has been hidden in the garden since the beginning of time. The question now is not if Eden will return, but when. Will we, as a people, be ready to face the truth of what was lost, to reclaim the knowledge that was once given to us, and to walk once more in the garden of God? The answers lie beyond the veil, in the heart of Eden, waiting to be discovered. Until then, we are left to ponder, to wonder, and to seek the divine truth that lies hidden, just out of reach. As we stand at the precipice of this ancient mystery, looking into the depths of Eden, we are confronted with more than just a story of paradise lost. This is a tale of spiritual warfare, of cosmic forces at play long before humanity ever took its first steps in the garden. And though Eden may seem like a distant, forgotten dream, its echoes resonate within us still, pulling us toward a truth we have yet to fully understand. Eden was never just a place of beauty. It was a realm of divine purpose, where heaven and earth met, where the beings who walked the earth before Adam laid the foundation of a cosmic battle. The fall of man was not just about the disobedience of two individuals. It was a turning point in a much larger divine struggle. It was the beginning of a journey that continues to shape our world today. And yet, despite the beauty of Eden, the truth beneath its surface remains hidden, sealed by divine protection. But this truth is not meant to remain hidden forever. The garden was sealed not just to protect us, but to protect the divine knowledge that it held. The tree of life, the river of living water, the secrets of creation, they are all still there, buried beneath layers of time and divine silence. The question is not whether Eden will be opened again, but when. And when that day comes, it will not just be the return to paradise. It will be the restoration of a divine purpose that has been waiting for humanity to reclaim it. As we reflect on the mystery of Eden, we are reminded that the secrets of the garden are not just for the past, but for the present and the future. We are not isolated from the story of Eden. We are part of it, a continuation of the divine plan that began long before we were born. And as we seek to understand the depths of Eden, we must also seek to understand ourselves, our place in this divine story, our role in the cosmic struggle, and the divine purpose that calls us to walk with God once again. The story of Eden is not one of loss, but of redemption. It is not a story of failure, but of restoration. The garden may have been closed, but the lessons it holds are still with us. We are the ones who must uncover its truths, who must seek its healing, and who must reclaim the divine purpose that was lost. The time has come for us to awaken to the reality of Eden and the power that lies within us. If this video has touched your soul, if it has helped you find light in the midst of darkness, I invite you to support this journey. Every like, every share, and every comment is a small act of energy that helps continue this work. If you believe in the value of these messages, if you feel called to walk this path with me, your support means more than you could imagine. Every contribution, no matter how small, is a priceless gift that fuels this mission to spread truth, light, and healing through the Word of God. Thank you from the depths of my heart. May the mystery of Eden continue to inspire and guide you, just as it has inspired me. Together, let us walk this path of discovery as we seek to understand the divine purpose that lies hidden beneath the surface of creation. May the lessons of Eden shape our lives, and may we one day find ourselves standing at its gates, ready to reclaim what was lost, ready to step into the fullness of divine knowledge.